Kia ora team, Noah Willoff here, host of the Beyond the Surface podcast. Thanks so much for tuning into today's episode. If you want to support the podcast, make sure we keep getting more of the guests on that you love. Make sure you check out our official sponsor of the show, Moana Road. Absolute legends. They've got something for everyone, whether it's a pair of stylish sunglasses, some cool accessories, bags, a gift for somebody that you love. Make sure to go check them out at moanaroad.co.nz. Thanks for supporting the show. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. Brother Jade, welcome to the potty.
Unreal. Kia ora, bro.
Thanks for having me on. Well, no, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, bro.
We got the responsibilities mixed up.
Yeah.
And bro, like we connected probably about a month or so ago, 2 months ago. We've got lots of mutual friends, and obviously a big mutual friend of ours is the late Connor Garden-Bachop. Really close friend of both of us, and we actually connected at his tangi down in Christchurch.
We did.
So, I mean, yeah, a fucking horrible circumstance, but a beautiful way in which Connor sort of brought like two, and a lot of people sort of together from his passing. So, yeah, man, it's just been awesome to get to know you from that little period. And I remember when we were at the Marae, we were talking and we're talking about the podcast and some of the mahi that you do. And so, yeah, awesome to get you on the show, man.
Bro, let's dedicate this to Connor, bro, straight up.
Fuck yeah.
You know, a bit of a tough thing that we're still going through, especially the whānau. And yeah, far out, we love you, Con. And yeah, a brief word probably on him. Just someone that had so much love and positivity that it overflowed.
Fuck yeah.
And it affected everyone around him. And he was just such a beautiful, beautiful human, and that's one in a million, you know. So, yeah, far out, getting pretty emotional from the get go, but
yeah, man, no, 100%. And like I remember, just started the podcast, and I was like, man, who of my mates has like a good following that would be happy for me to like shit through an interview and stumble across an interview and not really care. And I was like, fuck, I'll hit up Connor. And yeah, got him in, and just, so he was the second ever guest on the show.
Yeah,
and
right.
like now looking back at that pre-recorded episode, it just made me realize like how important even this mahi with the podcast is. Like I just see this as like a time capsule, you know what I mean? Now we've got this beautiful 60-minute conversation with Con that we can reflect back on, and his kids can see that now around how we spoke about them and his sort of stature and mana as a man. So yeah, bro, just fucking such a tragic loss and such a fucking beautiful soul, eh?
well, I'm glad you actually started with Con, because it's quite fitting. It's, you know, it's why I'm here, you know. It's how we connected, and yeah, you're right. I always say it's probably the most beautiful soul I will ever know, probably to this day.
Yeah,
and,
man.
And something that is obvious is that when we're all together, it's crazy that he loved everyone equally, and we're all so different. We're all so different, man. We're all out of the box, but it just showed how diverse he was and how confident he was with himself, you know.
Totally.
He knew who he was, you know, so.
100%. And just had that ability, to like connect, like what you said, just with anyone and everyone. Like the amount of people that were sort of brought around him at his tangi was just, so diverse. You had sort of everyone there, and everyone else had so many unique stories about their relationship to Connor, which is also different and also connected at the same time to everyone else.
That's the one, bro.
But yeah, man, fuck, it's such a, I think whenever you lose someone in life, it just puts things into perspective to you. And that's something that I've been really sort of thinking about myself, is just how precious life is. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know when our next day or night or afternoon or episode or like workout is going to be, or like whatever that is in the context of your life. And it can just all happen so fast and slow at the same time.
And they'll probably come up when we talk about some of the suicide prevention stuff, but kind of as I was sitting, you know, in that room at his tangi, it kind of, for myself, and I was talking to some of the boys, it kind of puts it all in perspective, you know, what you've been through in the past, and it all doesn't really matter when when your mate leaves. It's kind of like, ooh, it's pretty full on, you know. But yeah, it's a lot of full circle moments now, you know, because I was chatting to his younger brother, Toby, as well, you know, and
Tobes,
and
shout out
that's
Tobes.
shout out Toby, shout out brother, Toby Kennett, the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, no, that was a full circle moment too, because we talked about how I chatted to him on my little thing, and it was kind of like very fitting in so many ways, you know, a lot of full circle moments. So
100%, bro.
yeah, thanks for bringing that up, bro. Connor, we love you, man, and you know, you're still with us, and we're keeping you alive. We love you, bro.
Love that, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, bro, really keen to learn a little bit more about you too, Jade. And yeah, reflecting on your story, obviously growing up in Whangarei, and all the mahi that you're doing now with Chadco. I was keen just to learn a little bit more about your childhood, and what that looked like.
Yeah, right. So I was born in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. And I was the second child. My older sister Shama was first, and yeah, I was born in a little rental in Auckland, and then we moved to Whangarei straight off the bat and on the rahi. And yeah, that's where life started in school, and it was just for the most part my mum and my sister. Yeah, so just yeah, that's how it started.
Nice, bro. And you mentioned in some of the sort of pre-notes that you sent over that you never knew your biological father.
So yeah, I know my old man, but he pretty much from birth he took off. He had his struggles with addiction, with narcotics. So kind of like a few handfuls of times I've been able to be with him, and I've learnt a lot. Learnt a lot from him, and from watching him make the right decisions and the wrong. But yeah, I know who my father is, but it was definitely difficult to grow up kind of without him, you know.
What do you think that taught you as a young man, like not having your biological father in the house or around? Like, when did that really come into just, you know, you actually being consciously aware that your, you know, father wasn't playing that role in your life?
Actually, that's a good question, bro. I actually remember pretty early on my mum reminded me that I know it gets pretty sad, but I used to always cry for Dad. And so I think before I kind of knew it, I knew that there was a missing piece. But I think there was a lot of responsibility to kind of become that man of the house, you know, and later on I kind of did, and I had to. And you're kind of there for your, you know, you're living with two women, you know, you got your mum and your sister. It's like, you know, there isn't really that guy. So you don't, I think the biggest thing, to try and not do a roundabout answer, would be trying to figure out how to be a dude, you know, because it's like, you don't see it.
Yeah, true.
That's probably the hardest part. It's like, I didn't really fit in at school because all my mates would usually act like their old man, you know, because you learn a lot from your old man. I didn't really know how to do that. So I was kind of like, I'm going to go over here and play by myself. No, yeah, I didn't really. That was probably the hardest thing, bro. Yeah. It's like you see all these guys that are sculpted by a man, and you're like, I was sculpted by my mum. But it was good that way as well. But
yeah, that's a really cool perspective, bro. And it is quite sad, but also like it means that you've had to embody some of those traits from your mother. So what do you think those kind of like points of difference are that you probably learned from your mum that you wouldn't have typically got from like a stereotypical father?
Well, I think the biggest thing, bro, and the biggest thing that comes to like what we're doing right now is mum made me transparent. I don't think twice about telling people how I actually feel. And you'll never get a sweet bro or I'm all good answer from me ever. That's kind of why I trying to get the boys to do that otherwise, you know what I mean? So yeah, transparency and just being connected with myself and my heart and listening to my body. Mum's super spiritual. So I was very grateful of her and just spreading love, peace, and
nice
positivity.
Yeah. That's awesome, bro. And when it comes to schooling, you mentioned that, you know, you experienced some sort of bullying and not necessarily like fitting in the schooling system.
Yeah.
Can you speak to what that journey looked like in the eyes of a young fella, Jade?
Oof. Yeah, well, there was a lot of things at school that were quite bit of a black sheep kind of thing, you know. Like I was dyslexic, still am, as you could tell, because that word was quite hard to say.
Can you spell it?
D.
Yeah, we get in there. I can't spell it either, bro, so
brother. Don't do that to me. you know how they like, there's some mean people in a room that were like, you know what, we're gonna make dyslexia super hard to spell.
Yeah,
We're gonna put a SP in Lisp.
yeah.
Like, who the hell does that, bro? You know what I mean?
I know.
Isn't the word for the phobia from long words a super long word?
Yeah. Fuck, it's just the way things are.
Yeah. Nothing's fair, bro.
No, nothing's fair.
Yeah. What was the question? School bullying.
Yeah, school bullying, not fitting in, getting diagnosed with dyslexia.
Yeah, so that was the first thing, bro. I wasn't, in ADHD, I wasn't really good in school. And I feel like if you're having trouble with the teachers to start with, then that kind of follows, you know what I mean? Yeah. I wasn't good in class, and then just being around other kids, I was real radical, I was a radical kid. A lot going on at home, and a lot going on behind the beyond the surface, if you will. That kind of looked like I was just doing my own thing, bro. All the way up to high school. Like at the end of high school, my best friends was one guy, my bro Ash, just because of music, and my teachers. The teachers that we shared similarities. Or far out. I can't believe I said that first pop.
That was smooth too. That was smooth.
But yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, totally. And when there's such a. I was kind of very much similar. Like, never felt like I fully fitted in completely to education or schooling, and I've never been like a student where things would just click instantly. Nah. Like I had some mates that would just like piss around in class, not listen at all, and then when it come to actually doing the
straight
work,
A's.
Yeah, and it's like, man, they can just regurgitate knowledge so easily. I've never been like that. If I ever wanted to get good grades, I'd have to fucking study really, really, really hard.
But that builds something, bro.
It does.
That builds grit.
Yeah,
we've
sure.
got to grit our teeth.
And discipline for sure.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, I guess, sort of like bullying at school, bro, because you look at you now, you're not like a skinny, tweedy like person.
I was.
Yeah, well, you don't look like anything that would resemble, somebody that would be bullied, because like you're very confident in yourself now. You've 6'4", 6'5". You're a 6'5", 6'5" on dating apps.
6'6" on dating apps.
6'6". So like everyone's sort of got experiences with either being bullied or seeing others around them being bullied, and throughout that, like bullying just sucks the absolute life out of people, especially out of young kids.
It tests the brave, bro. It definitely tests the brave. I think bullying for me, if we're talking about that as a subject, got really bad in high school, because I think that's when everyone's trying to figure themselves out, and I think high school is a really important age for people to know kind of who they want to be like, not who they want to be, like still, as young 20-year-olds we're figuring that out. But I feel like if you don't have that fella that you want to be like, a dad, you can be lost. Yeah. So I was really all over the place in high school, and it was kind of, I don't know. But if we get more into the things I picked up, a lot of it was fueled because people told me I couldn't do it. All these bullies telling me I was a skinny piece of crap, and I was skinny, bro. I was scrawny as.
Same.
I think, still am. Bro, I'll get you on the gym, bro. But yeah, I think that was the big thing, is that everyone told me I was skinny and not good at something, and a few punches here and there and whatever.
True.
But look at me now. It's just like everything that they said I couldn't do, I did. I'm sure we'll get into that, but I feel like it tests the brave, bro, and I mean that when I say that. There's a lot of people. I mean, on the subject, we've lost kids because of bullying, and we've lost adults because of bullying. It's a vicious thing, but I feel like in my life, it was a blessing in a way, bro. Yeah, because it was kind of like, oh, true. You want to test me? Sweet, I'll show you in 5 years. Come look at me, bro.
And what were some of those like common, I guess, misconceptions that those bullies throughout high school were saying to you that you could either believe yourself or you take the mindset that, hey, I'm going to prove you wrong?
Well, the funny thing is, bro, is that now that I run into these fellas and girls as well, they all relentlessly apologize. And something I say over and over, bro, is like, bro, we were kids, and like, you didn't know better, and I didn't know better, and it was kind of, and the way I looked at it helped me, But to answer your question, bro, I think the first time I picked up a discus, if we go into that, later on or whatever, everyone was just like, oh, whatever, bro, you're too skinny to do that. Oh, I think before going into that, the first thing would have been the gym, bro. When I was 14, I was super underweight. I remember rugby weigh-ins, actually year 9, I was 35 kilo.
No way.
And I was 5'10".
Holy shit.
Do the math, bro.
Yeah.
I was small.
Yeah, totally.
I was small.
That's almost like borderline underweight.
Oh, yeah. I was anorexic for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy, man. And that's something my sister dealt with too as a kid, anorexia and bulimia as well, which is, you spread awareness about that. That's a pretty full on thing. But yeah. Bro, I was tiny, man. So I think, if you're asking about like prompts, what prompted kids, I think if like a, cheeky little fella who's skinny, it kind of comes into school and everyone else kind of looks the other way. It's kind of by default, bro. I think I was bullied by default.
Right.
It's like, okay, there's that kid and he acts a little weird. He's a bit loud. He stands out. Yeah. But it's funny, bro. We actually look for those people now, isn't it? As adults, it's like, oh, the bro knows like, he's doing this thing and he's like different. Yeah. He's the man, bro. Yeah. Like, straight up. But back in school, he's doing his thing. He's different. Like, let's go throw rocks at him.
Yeah. What a weirdo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is funny. It's, I guess when you're younger, you want to fit in, but when you're older, you want to stand out.
Be different.
Yeah, you want to be different. And that looks in so many different ways. And I don't know, it's always like my worst sort of nightmare is just to become like another part of the machine.
NPC.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like an NPC who just cruises through life and doesn't think for themselves.
Do what you're told, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Or doesn't have, opinions about things. Because I think as you get older, you need to have opinions about stuff. And people who don't have opinions about things sometimes, not everyone, but I think it's healthy to have, form your own opinions on stuff rather than just, regurgitating what everyone else is.
Yeah, well, I believe in a way, bro, we're sponges. I feel like everyone's supposed to have their experience and then put out their, like, what they've learned from that experience and be like, and that's the beautiful thing about art. One of my favorite potties with you was with the bro Nico with Casual Healing.
Yeah, bro.
I haven't actually met him, but I've met Will McLean and people around him. And my boy Jordan's his percussionist, so I'm kind of I can't wait to meet him. But I love that dude, bro, because he is literally, he embodies, you experience something and then you put it out in your voice, like how you put it out. And bro, I love his music, man, and he's such a beautiful soul. Yeah, bro. And love you, bro.
Shout out Nico.
Shout out to the bro. But yeah, and Will does it so well too. Will. Same thing, fatherless and things like that, and his music's so emotional and real. But yeah, I just believe we're sponges, bro. And you're right. There's a lot of people that haven't really found that, but you can't force them into finding that,
Totally, or haven't found like what you're saying, like an outlet to translate life into something else. Yeah. Whether that's through physical exercise or through art and creativity or through having conversations with people too. But totally, I think that's where the space of like creativity and art come into play in music is I also had one of the bros, Reese Rich, who lives over in Australia now, but he's like an awesome Kiwi hip hop artist.
Right.
And, you know, he takes inspiration from his songwriting, even from like architecture. He's like, I will be looking at like the shape of a table and that will inspire me to like write a song. And it's amazing what people can find as inspiration for content to write about, whether it's heartbreak or bullying or, you know, whatever that looks like, or architecture. You can turn that into like your own world or your own reality.
Yeah, well, that's why they call it art, hey, bro.
Yeah.
It's all art. Like life's art, bro. You know, it's and that's the beautiful thing about music and even architecture is that's literally what we're looking at someone's perception of their world.
That's right.
And then they create that thing. They create their building, they create their song. And it's like, hey, this is what I think. I don't care if you like it or not. This is me.
Yeah.
And I love that, bro.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's such a cool way of articulating it. Bro, keen to move to when you were in year 11.
Yeah.
You mentioned that was like particularly quite a tough and challenging year for you. So I think, it's always important to obviously have these conversations around mental health, but I think also equally as important for if there is someone who's in year 11 or someone that has other mates who are going through hard times, to hear from the perspective of someone that's actually gone through it. So I'd love to hear from you, bro. What did that year look like for you, and what sort of thoughts were running along in your brain?
Yeah. But I just want to say you're really good at this, man. You're a good interviewer. You're really good.
You're a great interviewee. Thanks.
No, I appreciate it, bro. I can't play, brother. I can't play. Yeah. I wanted to have that in here because it definitely birthed what we're about with Chatco, and why I support mental health. It was kind of, even though I had to deal with some things from an early age, that probably sprung the biggest, kind of the biggest era of the decline of mental health for me. So it was actually very start after the school holidays, very start of year 11. Some kids decided to start a rumor. And I think the most important thing that can come out of this too is you got to be really careful with your words. And words can be daggers, and it can really change someone's life. This rumor in particular was real nasty. And within a day, I was labeled with this label, and it changed my life. It really screwed me up, and the thoughts were pretty hard because I didn't really have a authoritative person in the house. Mum's very go with the flow kind of person, but when it comes to something like that, you really want someone to step in and stand up for you. And I was very alone in that. Nothing against mum or anything, but I was super alone in that point where I felt like the whole world was just caving in, and it was nasty, man. I had parents following me in their cars and screaming at me, and it was some nasty shit. I live in a small town, Mangawhai is bad subject, but shout out Mangawhai. But yeah, that's where I grew up from when I was 10. But small town vibes, bro. If something like that gets out, it was hard. And I still have parents come into me now apologizing because it's like when you hear a rumor, you can either do one or two things. You can believe it, or you can analyze it and be like, and come to that person and talk to them. So I appreciate all those people that did that at that time. Yeah. Not many. Yeah. But yeah, to answer your question with what was going through my head, bro, I was over it. Something like that, I wouldn't wish on anyone. I don't have enemies, but if I did, I wouldn't wish that on them. It was a horrible, horrible thing to go through as a young kid. Like, to put that in a jar with like what I was going through anyway. I don't want you to cry me a river. And I was like, I was dealing with it, And I was okay with dealing whatever I was dealing with, and we're all kids, we're on the same boat, we're all figuring our stuff out, you know. The worst, like, something I like to tell people, the worst thing you've been through is the same as the worst thing I've been through. It's the same, bro, because it's relative.
Yep.
That's what you know.
Yep.
And this is what I know.
Yep.
And that's why I don't hold anything against like my old bullies or anything like that, because, you know, they're going through their stuff. But yeah, that was rough, bro. I didn't want to really be here anymore. As a young kid, I was never suicidal up until that point. And yeah, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, bro, that's heavy. And thanks for being so like vulnerable and transparent, even just talking about it. Cause I think that's so important. Yeah. It must be hard to like speak about those memories, as it always is to talk about hardship. Like when you were feeling that way, like how were you sort of reacting to certain situations, or like what were you doing which was probably leading you into like a depressive episode?
So from early on, since we're talking about bullying and all that, mum's approach to bullying was like, don't ever react, you know, don't let it phase you, or even one of my favorites is if they call you something, agree with them, you know, and I got really good at that. If someone's like, bro, you're a skinny, you know, FAG, I don't know if we can say that anymore, but I'll be like, yeah, bro, yeah, I'm skinny as, and I'll give you the best this if you want it. And they're like, whoa, what's good, you know?
Because they're looking for a reaction, right?
Yeah. But during that period, that really didn't help, because what that did was that self-inflicted bottling, because all this stuff was going on and I wasn't reacting. What was happening was it was all bottling up, because I wasn't outletting. Even if I was outletting incorrectly, it's still an outlet, you know, at that age. So it was all bottling up. So I guess what I was thinking was there was kind of one way out, and definitely at that age, when you're going into a depressive episode, maybe you know, you can't get out of bed, and you don't want to see anyone, and you're really convinced that no one can help you. That, I think that's the biggest thing, is that like no one knows what I'm going through right now. And I feel like that's the most important thing of what we're doing now, is so one person can watch this and be like, oh shoot, I feel like that right now, and he's gone through it, and I still am. And I feel like that's really important. But yeah, to answer your question, bro, I didn't want to be here, so I tried to leave, and obviously it didn't work. And I don't mind talking about that, because I know a lot of kids have done the same thing. But also, I don't know what you're about to ask next, bro, but 2 years later, I think what really, and I didn't tell my mum about this until I was 20. I kept it quiet, no one knew. And that was tough. But in 2017, our good friend Travis, he did it. He took his life. May you rest in love, my bro. Love you. And I think that was an eye-opener, because in a way, when I was looking at him in his open casket, I saw myself. I was like, bro, I almost did that. And I got to talking to Travis's mum a lot recently, after another tough dance with the devil, I call it, in 2022. And I said, as hard as it was to say, Travis saved a lot of kids that year. He saved a lot of us, man, because it was definitely in that time shift of when technology was coming in and all that stuff, where a lot of us were suicidal, bro. All of us were, you know, really depressed, and he did it, man. And yeah, so in a way, he saved us, bro, because it was like we looked at him and it was like, oh, bro, it's real. We're not in a video game, brother.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah,
life's not a toy, bro.
no, it's not. And yeah,
I miss you, Travis.
Yeah, bro, that's Yeah, that's very deep, and it's unfortunately like a story and experience that like so many of us have in New Zealand, especially young men.
Yeah, bro.
I was very much the same. Saw one of my mates when I was year 13, so like 18, sort of open casket, and he had taken his own life, and yeah, that again just puts. Oh, and I feel very grateful. I've never actively been in that situation where I've thought like I think everyone has the thoughts like, man, imagine if I wasn't here and stuff like that. But I've never actively either tried or had depressive thoughts or suicidal thoughts like that. So I feel very sort of lucky in that sense. But yes, just seeing his body, it just changes absolutely everything. So how did you, bro, like get out of that rut?
Sorry, real quick. Do you mind saying the bro's name?
Yeah, Sian.
Sia?
Sian.
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 Shout out.
Rest in peace, Sian.
Love you, brother.
Yeah.
Straight up.
That was a fucking good guy.
I bet,
real
bro.
great man.
Yeah.
So yeah, how did you get out of that space and that rut?
Yeah, that was tough. I think, bro, I think it was a blessing and a curse that no one knew. I feel like
Did anyone know?
Nah, no one. It was a weird time. I was telling some friends that I was feeling kind of a certain way, and it was at that time where that rumor was going around. So some kids spread another rumor that I did it or something like that, but that didn't last long. But no one knew, bro. My mum didn't know. No one knew. She got a call from the school, and they're like, "Hey, Jade's not at school today. We've had some people talk about suicide and stuff like that. Do you want to check on him?" And she was actually out that day. That was the day I decided to, do the deed, bro. So, yeah. I don't know. I think how I got out of the rut, dude, the next day, after that, I was wearing a hoodie and stuff to hide some. I don't want to get into too much detail, but hiding my neck. Yeah. I told my mum. She didn't know until I was 20, but I told her. I said, "Hey, mum, if I left, what would you do?" And she said, "I'll leave tomorrow. Like, there's no point in me being here without my boy." And that kind of
You're good, bro.
Yeah.
Take your time, bro.
I couldn't really picture doing that to someone. Like, she worked so hard. So for me to just do that is so like,
And it's those moments that if someone takes their own life, it's not them. They're relieving the hurt, but the hurt gets passed on. It gets passed on to the ones that they love.
Sorry, bro.
No, bro, this is, yeah. Take your time, man. Take your time.
Yeah, that was probably it, bro. I told mum, what would you do? And she was like, "Bro, I'd leave tomorrow, cuz." And that was it. That was enough for me to be like, fuck that, man. I don't want to do that. And I'm so glad it didn't work. I'm still here. But yeah, I'm just ashamed that, again in 2022, went into another episode, but yeah, bro, that got me out, and kind of that was a stage where the rumor lightened, and life started getting a bit easier, and I just persisted, and it was okay. It was okay from there, and I think that was the hill, was that I went up that mountain, and I just had to get over that peak, and I almost didn't. And I'm really grateful that I did. Yeah,
I'm grateful that you did, bro, and that you're around and to share the story. You know what I mean? Because it's not often you hear this side of the story from people that have climbed up that mountain and faced that shit front on. and have obviously lived to tell the tale to others so they can talk about it and sort of get off that path as well. So yeah,
I just want to help people, bro.
I think this is a really nice and natural like progression into your work with Chadco, bro. And because a lot of and shout out, currently wearing a nice crew neck. You're rocking the trucker cap.
Yeah, I got this one too.
Yeah, express yourself.
Yeah, there we go.
Does that express yourself?
Yeah, bro. So actually, funny story. For the second year of RNA, we'll get into that. But me and my designer now, Georgia, shout out Georgia. I was like, I want to do some backwards trippy stuff. So when you look in the mirror, you could see one thing, but then when you look at it, you see the other. So
True.
express is forward, but yourself is backwards. So when you look in the mirror, you see yourself.
I like that. That's fucking smart, bro. That's
Yeah.
That's cool. And I mean, the birth of Jadco, from what I understand, happened where most Kiwis have shared a similar experience, being absolutely ridden off at the side of sitting on a hill or with a bunch of mates at a festival. And this one was at Northern Base with your bro.
It was.
Yeah, talk me through that conversation with your mate that was the catalyst to starting Chadco today.
Yeah, so obviously I'm a Mangawhai local. I think I can say that after 14, 15 years. To the boys, shout out to all the brothers. You know who you are. Funny though, I actually can't remember the bro I was talking to at the time.
Was it not even your mate?
It was like, it was one of the bros in Northern Base. You know, I'm quite a dude to come in and approach. You know, a lot of people approach me. I'm like, sup, brother, how's it going? He was a bro I went to school with.
Okay.
But I can't remember.
True.
We were ridden off, and at the time, some boys, Nubby and Danyan, they started this little thing called Safe Clothing. They bought a printer, basically. They bought a screen printer, and they just bought some cheap T-shirts from AS Colour, and they're printing whatever. I got a T-shirt of my bro completely gurning,
printed out.
Yeah. And I gave it to him for shout out Jinjol.
That's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, I was talking to the bro about that, what we just talked about when I was 15 and what I overcome, and he was like, bro, you should do something. And I was like, I don't know what. And the bros were selling T-shirts, and I was kind of like, oh, maybe I can start selling T-shirts. Now it's kind of a funny story, like how, I don't know, like the very base of Chadco was I wanted to I want to break the stigma, you know what I mean? So you said like a lot of people familiar with being completely written off and sharing a story, and that's become the norm. You know, I was with boys last night at a stag do, you know, for my boy Nathaniel. Congratulations, brother. But they were like telling me, you know, I've been 11 months sober now, no alcohol.
Yeah, can you get that as well?
Yeah. And they were like, bro, how do you like talk about this stuff and you're not even pissed and all that? And it's like, I want to normalize that, bro. And so when I was making Chadco, I was like, I want to make a thing that people won't really straight away relate with suicide prevention and mental health, but kind of do like kind of a roundabout effect. And be like, you don't know it, but by wearing that, you're supporting suicide prevention. Yeah, nice. But in a way, I was like, right, Chadco's going to be like light. And like, what is Chadco, right? Being a Chad, you know, like, just, yeah, dude, like surfing. Chuck the shuckers, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's where it came from, bro. And I need to give a little credit to someone who helped me with the co. You know, I was like, I wanted to call it Chad, and I was talking to a person at the time, and they were like, you should put co in the end, you know, collective company, because 2-syllable names, bro. Nike, you know, I'm struggling now, just 6 years coming in, but Apple, yeah, you're right. You know, as like Chadco, as it rolls off the tongue. So thank you for the co. They've been bugging me to give them some credit on
It's a
that.
nice alliteration as well. 2 C's. It goes quite nice. Chadco.
CC, brother.
CC.
Copyright that.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, we've all got that experience of, being at R&V or Northern Base and yarning to a stranger. And it happens to be some of the most like deepest, most impactful yarns that you can possibly have with another human being.
Bro, exactly.
That's kind of the big draw card, I think, going to a lot of these these festivals and experiencing those sort of conversations.
Yeah, bro.
So,
I love you, bro.
I love you, man. Fuck yeah. And then you'll never see them again.
Yeah.
We got to catch up. It never happens.
But that's why I love dudes so much, is that like you can meet someone and in 5 seconds you're dabbing up, you're bros.
Yeah.
It's like we share, like, there's men of simple creatures, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you like cars?
Yeah.
I like cars too.
You like the UFC?
You like UFC, bro? Yeah, it's like, wow, we're best bros. But yeah, I've that's beautiful, you know. And if we can get that going with mental health, then we're onto something.
Yeah. So how does the sort of business work with Chadco, bro? So you got these different sort of, as a clothing brand, and then a portion of the profits goes to support a mental health charity.
Yes. So
speak us about that.
Sorry for not bringing that up straight away. So I was still living in Dunedin. I'd finished my degree and I was still living in Dunedin when I started it. And there's a local suicide prevention trust called Life Matters in Dunedin. And when I started it, I was like, how can I support mental health in more than one way? You know, a good friend of mine, he started off as my boss. I was bouncing down in Dunedin for a while.
Fuck, you'd be a good bouncer, eh?
Yeah.
I reckon you just start yarning to people though.
Yeah. I've made some of my lifelong friends from bouncing.
True.
You know, and just like they're ridden off and I give them a lift home and then we start hanging out. You know,
True, that's
like,
sweet.
Yeah, the boys. But
do you get a bit of an ego trip, like being a bouncer? Because the bouncers I experience in town, they love the power of holding your ID. And be like, can I let him in?
making you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. How many you had tonight, sir?
You know what's funny, bro? Dunedin's a real small place, and what goes around comes around. And I was lucky to be part of a really good company. Shout out SPS Security, South Pacific Security. And I had a really good team leader, my boy Tama, Big Tama. He calls himself Big Zaddy, but we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, he's from Wellington.
True, man.
He's a Wally boy. I don't want to get the bro school wrong, but I like to say Scots, but I can't remember.
True.
And I know you guys take your schools very seriously.
It's like, it's like sort of social status. And
but yeah, so we never had an ego. I had a really good team leader, and how we treat our patrons is how we want them to treat us.
Nice.
And also, bro, it's having respect for, it's a business, and it's hospitality. If you want people to come back, you know, because you're helping the big man. And what I was going to say before is I was talking to Andre, shout out Andre Shi, owner of Vault 21, Catacombs, and many other clubs down in Dunedin, who I can call my good friend now. He gave me some really sound advice about business, and I was lucky to get some business advice. I actually went to him for a loan, and he told me to get on my bike, but he gave me advice. Oh, really? Yeah, which was funny, but yeah, I kind of forgot what we were talking about, but yeah, there was no ego when we were bouncing. It was a really good opportunity as a young man too. I was 19, so I was chucking out people older than me. So I think it was a good view of like, I think I'm on the right track. You know, if I'm training, I'm going to uni, and I'm bouncing. You know, we're all humble boys, just trying to get our way through. But yeah, I honestly never had one night that I didn't like.
True, it would be fun. It would be fun.
But I wasn't into drinking, bro.
Yeah.
So I actually said to my mum, she was like, "How's the parties going?" You know, bro, I went to the most infamous drinking school in the world. I Otago uni.
Yeah.
You know what
true.
I mean? And I only drank like a handful of times. I drank quite a lot in my third year, but I didn't do the whole fresh air write-off thing, you know?
Okay.
And I said to my mum, she was like, how the party's going? I'm like, yeah, well, I'm just standing around making sure everyone's all good. Like people are, Mum, you wouldn't believe it. People are face first on the ground, and I'm like putting them on their side, making sure they vomit sideways and not up.
Swallowing their tongue.
Exactly, bro. And she's like, hey, why don't you get paid for that? And I was like, how? And actually, I was, I was with some bros down in suburbia, and one of my mates, Zoomy, what a name.
Is this his actual name? It's
No,
gotta be short for something.
Yeah.
One of those guys that you just know him as Zoomy. You don't know his
It's
actual
one of
name.
those nickname guys, bro.
Yeah.
And his mate Tiana, I'd like to say, was a I called him T. He was a DJ. So I was standing next to him in suburbia, stopping people from getting on stage. He said the same thing. I was like, bro, you should be getting paid. I was like, I don't know what to do, bro. What do I do? So I hit up SBS and I got a job.
Bro.
As a bouncer, but
Yeah.
I can't remember the first thing you asked. I can't.
Dude, I can't. I think I followed the tangent with the I kept asking you questions about being a bouncer, eh?
Yeah,
but no,
yeah.
that's cool because it folds into your journey at the moment of being sober, and we'll head to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're with Chadco. There's the sort of charitable element of the business.
Yeah. That's what we were talking about.
I think was it?
Yes. So, so in Dunedin, I found Life Matters, and I give. Long story short, I give 5% of my profits to Life Matters, Suicide Prevention Trust.
Awesome.
And it was actually funny. I started doing it, and I wasn't really in cahoots with anyone.
Yep.
And like a year in, I didn't. I was probably like $600, $700 up with. Giving to them, and I went in and I was like, hey, I'm the guy who's been giving you money. And they're like, oh, we're trying to figure it out. Like,
right. So you didn't reach out to them first and say, hey, oh, cool.
No, I just found them, bro. And they do free walk-ins.
Yep.
That's what I loved with licensed, what are they called, therapists. You can walk in, tell them what's going on. Because how that started, bro, is, forgive me, I'm very sorry. It's been a long time. I forgot her name. But she started, I'm really terrible with names, but she started Life Matters, bro, because her son, and I've done this, a lot of the boys have done this. Her son went into the hospital and said, I'm suicidal. I tried to take my life, and they said, sweet, go home and sleep it off.
Hey.
So he went home and he did it. He took his life. So that's what we want to change, man. And that's a whole new conversation coming into like our healthcare system.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of pills, bro. Good luck.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. So he got turned around. They're like, go home, and he did it. So she started Life Matters, and I loved that. And I got to hug her and learn her story. And so I was like, bro, take my money.
Yeah, that's beautiful, bro.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing with Chadco is I'm remembering now when I was talking about the different ways of how I want to support suicide prevention is, yes, I give them a small amount of money, but also I had someone who was like, oh, only 5%. Like, why do you only give 5%? I was like, yeah, but with my page, I'm trying to like give tips every day, like quote of the days I've been doing and like, I'm telling all the boys this and all that, and I tell you what, I don't get any money back, bro. It goes straight back into Chadco, and it's not even much anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I kind of, when people say that, I'm like, what are you giving, bro?
Yeah, exactly. What a selfish thing to say to somebody. Yeah. It's like, what contribution are you making?
Some people don't get it, bro.
Nah, they don't. That's awesome, dude. And I mean, I feel like that's a big shift we see a lot with a lot of like labels now is you can't just be, well, you can, but for an organization nowadays or a business, having that sort of like social lens to it is like such a driving force to consumers. You want to wear something which represents you, and knowing that this gives back to a mental health awareness charity that does on the ground support, but also stands for something a bit bigger than just creating stuff that looks cool is something I'm always going to get behind. So,
and that reminds me, when I went to Andre and he told me to get on my bike, he gave me that advice. He said he said, okay, show me Chadco. I was like, okay, here you go. He's like, why should I buy Chadco? Like, why is Chadco better than Nike? Better than Adidas? Better than, why should I buy it? And I was like, oh, I don't know why you should buy Chadco. He's like, go home and figure that out. Like, if you don't embody the your brand and why people should invest in it, if you don't invest in your own stuff, no one else is going to.
Yeah.
So why should people buy Chadco? All right. So then I just went on a tangent. I was like, right, we're gonna help the bros,
Yeah.
and break the stigma, brother.
Break the stigma. But that's what I appreciate about you, bro, is that you do live by the words that you put out there. Like, it would be really easy to create this, and not saying that people who do create, social enterprises and businesses that give back to a certain sort of charitable sector shouldn't drink alcohol or have fun or anything like that. But what I value about you is, you don't do that. And I'd love to get into that with you around your sobriety, but I feel like you really live the essence of Chadco.
Yeah.
Like, you're the bro. You're a fucking cruisy dude.
Call me Chad, man.
Yeah, man's Chad. He's him. But you also have this other layer of you where, you're lots of transparency, honesty around your own like battles with depression.
Yeah.
And also being completely sober, which is like fucking so rare nowadays.
Well, bro, the whole sobriety thing is that, like, doing what you preach, walking the walk. I think if I'm out here trying to help people with their mental health, I should be helping my own. So, and that's why I started Chadco. It's a depressant. Alcohol is a depressant, and people use alcohol how they want to. And each to their own. But for me, it was a massive depressant. So I was like, all right.
What did they look like for you?
For me, bro, I wasn't. My family's not a big drinking family, and I know some people come from really big drinking families. But we didn't really react to alcohol well. And I think obviously my dad he's in rehab as we speak. And he touched the hard stuff, but my relationship with just any drug, alcohol is a drug, was hazy. I didn't want to touch that stuff because I grew up without my dad because of that stuff.
Yeah.
So what it looked like for me, bro, was it came to the point where I was jumping on my story and I was giving a quote of the day, I don't know, finding the bad and the good and finding the good and the bad, yin and yang. Like I'll post that, and then I'll go get pissed. And then I remember going through a really hard patch and sinking a whole hot bottle. And
a hot bottle?
Hot bottle meaning like, whole bottle of bourbon.
You had a whole one of them?
Hot bottle, yeah, bro.
Hey.
Tequila was my drop at the time.
Damn, bro.
Golden tequila. I know, bro. I don't do anything in halves.
All in.
But I mean, that can bring great success doing things in halves. But it's also why my dad was an addict. Because my father's amazing, man. He did some cool stuff. He was a model. He was an actor. He was in The Matrix, actually.
Actually?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I'll show you the scene later.
Bro, please, after this. Pull it up.
Yeah, bro. He was going up. He was going up, man. But he just fell into that thing. And I feel like anyone who's an addict or has been an addict will know that they're really good at it. They're really good at being an addict. And I feel like when I started drinking, I started getting really good at drinking.
Yeah.
And I think that was the problem, bro, is that you and I are the same. When we pick something up, we're not good at it straight away, whether it be like a positive thing or a negative thing. Yeah. But as the time goes on, we can get really good at it. So drinking, man, I was starting to drink, and definitely in our culture, we're a binge drinking culture.
It's kind of celebrated, right? Like you've always there's always that one guy at a party who can like scale a beer in like
they're
2
the
seconds,
man.
and everyone just congregates around them like, do it again. And their social status is huge at that party. So keen to just follow that story a bit more.
Yeah.
And what was it like, I guess, sort of stepping away and making that decision, hey, I'm actually not going to drink anymore?
So on the 10th of October, so I've just turned 11 months recently.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, bro.
11 months old.
Far out. You just tripped me up there, and I was like, "Is it my birthday?" On the 10th of October, I came to a point where I actually moved home for a couple of months due to decline in mental health, and right before I shifted over to Melbourne, and I was just drinking heaps, bro, and I think going back to a small town was a bad idea because all you do in a small town is work and drink.
Yeah.
I was just pissing up heaps, and what that looked like, bro, I kind of looked in the mirror. I was like, brother, like, you know, if you want to be this and be that and preach to people mental health, why are you writing yourself off like every weekend? You know, you start on a Thursday, end on a Monday, you know, brother. So that's what it looked like, bro. I was like, nah, see ya. Yeah, no more. So cut it out.
Great, bro.
Yeah.
It's so rare, is like to come across someone our age who doesn't drink. So I remember you told me that when we were down in Christchurch, and I think you were on like the lemon lime bitters or like the ginger beer.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, ginger beer.
And I was like, "Oh, you're not drinking?" You're like, "No, bro, haven't touched it in months."
Yeah.
But I hugely just appreciate that and respect it, because it's so easy to fall, like we were saying, into the majority of young men our age. We do drink and binge drink and drink a bit too much, but actually take that step away and, you know, prioritize what's best for your mental health is great, bro. What's been like the hardest part about it?
To be honest, bro, the hardest part would be going to a bar and ordering a drink, and I'll explain. I think when you pass like 3-4 months, you're not thirsty for alcohol anymore, bro. You know, when you've been without something for so long, you forgot what it was like to have it. So you're like, all good. Yeah. And I'm really strong-willed, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna touch it ever again.
Amazing.
To be honest, it's kind of funny. The hardest part would be I went on a few dates over in Aussie, and shout out.
Shout out Rachel.
Yeah, shout out Shaniqua. Love you, bae. I'd order a drink. I would order a ginger beer, and they'll give me an alcoholic ginger beer.
True.
And that's the hardest part.
True.
Is that the bro poured me a ginger beer, and I smelt it, and I was like, oh, brother. So I went up to him, I was like, bro, is this alcoholic? He was like, yeah, you asked for a ginger beer. I'm like, bro, ginger beer, like ginger beer. He's like, oh, over here, bro, that's ginger beer. And I was like, do you have ginger ale? And he was like, yeah, we've got ginger ale. I'm like, oh, now I know.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, now I know to ask for ginger ale. But that's the hardest part, bro.
Right. What about like social settings? Do you ever feel like any of the boys like peer pressure you? Or
I really wanted to bring this up because yesterday, obviously being on a stag do, was a great example of this. I'm super hypo, bro, and I'm super out of it, and I believe ADHD is the best drug in the world, bro. It's the best and worst drug in the world. But I'm out of it. I don't need it. I have social anxiety, but how I deal with it is I crack jokes, I make people laugh. I get out and I'm that guy on the dance floor by himself, cracking the moves. I don't care, bro. And it's great. And I was talking to all the Usos last night, and they're like, brother, you know, how do you do it? And they're like, why aren't you drinking? And I said, bro, by the 4th bar, because we're on a crawl, I said, by the 4th bar, you tell me if I'm boring or if I'm out of it. And by the time we got to the 4th bar, like, also you're out of it. It was like, also you're out of it. I was like, yeah, bro, I don't need it, bro. Yeah.
That is true, bro. Like, just the organic energy that you provide to any situation. You don't need to be drunk to have a good time.
Yeah, and like in our town, man, we've got some of the best surf in the country. So surf, skate, snowboard.
Those are the natural highs.
bro.
Yeah.
Jump out of a plane. I'm an adrenaline junkie.
True.
I love adrenaline from an early age. And I actually visited my childhood home recently when I was in Whangarei, and the driver was like this, bro. And I was just looking at it, just like feeling my head. I was like, oh yeah, 8 stitches there, 10 stitches there. I would just fly down with a skateboard, bro. I just loved it, and that carried on.
Yeah.
That carried on to a later age. I just love adrenaline, bro. It's a natural high that's just crazy.
Yeah, it is a natural high for sure. It is crazy. Yeah, that's super cool, man. I think so cool for this episode and this podcast. I love sharing different people's perspectives, and for someone that, like myself, I drink. I don't drink often. I think having a girlfriend really helps with that because she's not a drinker. But yeah, it has definitely helped my mental health as well, sort of reducing the amount of times I get shit-faced. And when you're single, you're trying to meet girls, like that happens more weekends than not, to be honest, because it's that social lubricant that you feel like you need.
Social lubricant.
Social lubricant.
Bottle that up and sell it, brother. Oh, they have. They have.
Social lubricants.
Yeah, it's piss, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's beer. Yeah, man, that's awesome. Like, do you have a vice? Because you don't drink. Do you, like, what is your vice?
Bro, my vice is I'm sure we'll get into it, but the gym. The gym, drumming, I've been in, bro, if you play a gig to 1,000 people, try and tell me that you don't feel high after that. Like, bro, I'm sure Nico talked about it. That kind of feeling is insane. But the best way I can describe it is, when you see a band and you feel that synergy from the band and you're feeling that love and you're like, whoa, bro, that was amazing. Just the way to flip that around is when you're in the band, you feel that from everyone in the room.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's amazing, bro. And that's what a lot of people forget is, if I'm drumming and we really hit it and we're in a massive gig or a small gig, some of my favorite gigs were at Rhyme and Reason in Wanaka. I think capped at like 250, 300. And, the drums it's a brewery, the drums are in the middle of these big brewery tanks. And it's so that's cool. And the vibe's on. So my vice is just chasing my dreams, bro. Just hitting the gym, staying physical, staying fit, drumming and throwing and getting into that. But yeah, my vice is, success, my bro.
Success. No, that's awesome, bro. It's like you're channeling all of that energy, which could be spent on alcohol and partying and that, just into positive avenues, which increase your well-being, make you feel better, make you look better as an individual. So what sort of role does, I guess, moving into sort of physical exercise and sport, what sort of contribution does that have to your mental health?
All of it, really. I think the contribution that it has is life's constantly doing this. I just took some photos with my bro Harrison, shout out Harry, in Melbourne, and he said something really funny, because something I love about working with people around Jaco is that it always opens the door with conversation, and they share their unique tips or whatever, the unique sayings. And he said, I'm not religious, but he said, God laughs when you make plans. And I loved that, because I feel like if you try and make plans, life's always like, boom!
Yeah.
Whatever, bro.
Deal with this. Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
So true.
So life's always doing this, bro. And the gym's the only thing that always gives you that you know what the gym's going to be.
Yeah.
So I think, especially traveling around and doing things with you, and thanks, bro. This is awesome. It's all changing. It's all interchanging. But I think what the gym gives me, bro, is that stability. It's always there for me. I like to say the gym is the most loyal girlfriend. Never leaves, brother. Never leaves.
Because you do like a bit of powerlifting and obviously like your athletics with like discus and throwing. Yeah. That's mean, bro.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's such an important part of life. You've got to look after your physical to look after your mental.
Well, I think that was the big thing through that bullying period, is when I picked up a discus. I don't know if you wanted to get into that, but now you know, recently being like top 2, 3 in New Zealand, I didn't think I would get to that point if people didn't tell me, like, you know, I couldn't do it. But also it was that thing that kept me sane. I knew that the discus was always there for me, and I fell in love with it. And the gym was always there for me. And I was like, okay, let's have a crack. Let's get good at it. But yeah, stability, bro.
Stability for sure. Yeah, it is it can be like a constant in your life. And I always feel like whenever I'm feeling like quite like, I don't know, skittery or like bit angsty, or like my temper's just a bit higher than I usually am, or feel like I'm not being good enough, it's always comes back to, okay, what am I eating? What am I doing physically? And there's usually a really strong pattern there. If I haven't, gone for a run or gone to the gym or done jiu-jitsu, it's like just all sort of compounds. And that sort of, I think, moves out to other areas of your life where 100. You can be like a dick, or you can be short-tempered, or you can start that fight with your girlfriend, or say something that you shouldn't have to like your daughter or your child. And like my constant pattern or trigger is, okay, are you sort of looking after your physical like well-being at this time? And 9 times out of 10, if I'm feeling like that, the answer is no.
Can I ask you a question? Was there a point in your life that you didn't have that vice, being jiu-jitsu or the gym or anything like that? And I noticed too, if you don't mind me mentioning, you're also a father. Which is, bro, big ups.
Bro.
I love that. Yeah, bro, Dilf hard.
That's what me and Connor used to always say. We're like, because very similar story.
He's a Dilf.
Yeah, bro, and it was cool. We've got like a little Dilf community. So maybe you'll be next if those Tinder dates and while he's
I'm not on Tinder, well. Bro. Stuff that. So similar situation, bit of a one night thing, and you had your kid pop up.
Yeah, well, I was sort of with the mum, sort of high school, like romance, and got told she was having my baby at sort of 16, and it was fucking terrifying.
Dude, I was trying to do the math. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, man.
Dude.
And, so that was pretty scary. Probably didn't react to the news like how I should have in hindsight, but I was just very scared. It's like a 16-year-old boy getting told he's going to be a father, and my mum was pregnant with my soon-to-be baby brother. So I was like, I don't want to stress her out.
Wow.
So I bottled it all up. I didn't tell anyone. Didn't tell. I told my mates, but didn't tell any of my family that I was going to be a dad.
Well, Jackson said at the marae that Connor didn't tell him until he had them.
Yes, bro. And
I can't believe that.
Dude, that's exactly the same thing that I did with my little girl, unfortunately. My little one was about sort of 2.5, 3 months old. I finally told my my folks that they were grandparents. And I remember me and Connor just resonated and related to each other so hard, because we both had those same feelings, right? It was like we're all, not that we were ashamed, we just didn't have the confidence in ourselves to really change our life and change our reality. And I don't think we were ready to accept it at that point.
And I really appreciate Connor for letting me into not only his life but his girl's life as well. The twins. So it was actually the last day we had together, bro. Was a play date with me, him, and his girls and Liv. Just down at the beach in town, actually. That was a special. I feel like it's a really important thing when you're a young father. And bro, I always gave him so much praise, and he something I loved about him is he opened up as well. I love that. But I gave him so much praise because I said, as long as you're trying as a father, you're a father. Because I had to explain to him that, bro, I didn't have that. And he was so worried. And I feel like if you're worried, you're doing the right thing. If you're worried about not doing enough, you are doing enough. Because you're worried about not doing enough.
Totally.
And he was such an amazing father.
Yeah, bro. He fucking was, such an amazing like provider and just role model. And I think what you're saying there is so true. If you don't have those thoughts, you're probably not a good father.
There you go.
And the fact that you can sort of think about that, and Connor always showed up for his girls, and has just left such a beautiful legacy for them. That was just such a key experience and such a unique experience that we both shared through fatherhood. Yeah, it's a whirlwind, bro. It's the best job ever, though.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you is how, because I know a lot of fathers that use jiu-jitsu and use I don't know, Muay Thai, kickboxing, or the gym. So was there a point where you were like, I need this vice? And you saw it as I love this vice and this is the bomb. Like, I want to know that about you.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I've always been like quite sporty growing up, so I've always had that avenue. I think it wasn't until I was probably like I moved out of home as soon as I could when I turned 18. So I went flatting into town, and those sort of first 2 years when I was like, okay, yeah, being an adult, flatting, living with people, was when I probably didn't look after my sort of physical health the most. I remember like sort of looking in the mirror and just like being like, fuck, I don't really like who I'm becoming, eh? Like,
look at that rig.
Yeah,
bro.
this rig is I've got the dad bod.
Yeah.
And that really scared me, but also wasn't in like the best sort of space mentally. Like I felt tired all the time. I'd wake up in the morning late. Just had pretty poor routines.
Yeah.
And then I started doing like a little bit of Muay Thai. I'd always play like sort of tennis and that. But jiu-jitsu's been like a more recent thing for me. And dude, it's such a humbling experience, eh?
Yeah, bro.
Just getting absolutely turned into a pretzel every training session by females who are like 30 kgs lighter than you. But you learn so much through it, eh? It's such an awesome sport, real technical sport, and just a fucking cool community. Like I haven't met a dickhead yet on the mats, which is good.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about the correlation between mental health and sport is that sport is humbling. Like there's some freaks out there that are, pick up a ball and boom, they're a superstar, and Connor was definitely one of those. But I think the beautiful correlation, bro, is that when you step on the mats or when you step into an arena to throw a disc or step into the gym, you're humbled, dude. When you first step into a gym, you realize, you look around, I'm not the biggest here, and I need to work really hard to get to that point. Yeah. And whether you know it or not, that's helping you. And then you actually trick yourself into like buying the supplements and
getting the gym gear.
Getting the gym gear, and you're into it, and then people are like, oh, are you coming on the piss on Thursday, bro? No. I got what is it? It's bench tonight. Yeah. I got chest. Yeah. It's like, brother.
I think it also teaches you like how do you react when things don't go to plan? Because like whenever you're training, you'll have a shit training session, or you'll be caught in like a horrible position in jiu-jitsu, or you just can't get as many reps as you need, or you get injured, and it teaches you like how do you react when things fucking hit the fan, don't go well. And I think that brings you sort of learnings that you take into sort of everyday life, whether that's your relationships or your work, that can keep going you forward. So it's a big sort of adversity builder, resilience builder.
That's a really good point too. Well done. I'm lucky enough. One of my good mates, Connor Bell, another Connor, just got back from Paris. A young fella, young discus thrower, just got back from the Olympics.
Oh, oosh, man.
Yeah, and he got 13th. So how it works is, if you get top 12, you go through to the final, and there's a rule called the countback rule. So if you throw the exact same distance as someone in the competition, it goes by your second best throw before that throw. Yep. And he threw the exact same distance as the guy who came 12th and got to go to the final, but he lost on countback.
Oh, fuck.
So I just recently was talking to him about the mental side of that, and it's like, you're a 23-year-old dude about to make your first Olympic final. It's huge.
Yeah, 100%.
And he just missed out. Yeah. And when talking about high performance athletes or athletes in general, the sport is like 20% of it, bro.
It's mostly mental for sure.
Oh, mental, nutrition, like all these other injuries, all these other factors, bro. And talking to Bell about it, he's done really well. And big ups, bro. 13th in the world.
Dude, that's incredible. That is incredible.
23,
especially against these other countries that just pump like literally millions of dollars into development of their athletes.
And that's a good point. We have very little support. Yeah, and especially him. He's top 15 in the world. He gets zilt. So,
respect, bro. That's awesome. I'm keen. Yeah, we'll wrap up shortly with some sort of quick fire questions. But
Yeah.
Through Chad and Co, bro, I'm
Yeah.
just keen to ask you, like, where do you see taking Chad and Co and this conversation with mental health? What's your sort of next 5 years, or what would the future look like if you could sort of wave a magic stick and make it happen?
Check. Yeah. So, well, obviously, I've been a drummer a long time. Doing music in uni and playing gigs. Like any other musician, we want to do it full time. You know what I mean? We want to do our art full time. What it looks like, bro, is I would like to be selling my clothes, and just helping people. And I would really want to be involved in bigger organizations. I Am Hope, things like that. If if I were to get mingling with them, and they scratch mine, I scratch theirs. You know what I mean? And we help people. If I can help, if I can help more people be here than the ones that are leaving, I've done my job. I just want to keep people alive. You know what I mean? And also just to show them that it's possible. We didn't really talk about 2022, but I had another attempt in 2022 that I got hospitalized from, and that's just letting people know that it doesn't leave. Yeah. It doesn't leave, and I'm still struggling. I'm still trying to help it and figure out all these things to do with my brain. So, that's what it looks like, bro. Playing music full time, selling clothes full time, and helping people, and maybe throw a bit of disco. Who knows?
That's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
And knowing you'll absolutely make that happen, bro. And just want to say a massive thanks for jumping on the podcast. Awesome to get you on, and it's cool to sort of close that loop from connecting down in Christchurch, a few months ago. Connor will be proud of this chat. Be proud of how you're holding yourself, and just the conversation that we're having for people listening to this, wherever you are. Talk to people. Make sure that you express your emotions transparently. You have those outlets. So, bro, and make sure you purchase some Chad Co to support the mission.
ChadCoClothing.com.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hey, bro, thank you so much. What you're doing, and you're getting beyond the surface. Excuse the pun. You're helping a lot of people, man. You're getting to know people. You're in this world of a lot of misguided information, on phones and all that. You're real. You're getting out real shit. And I love you, bro.
Love you too, brother. Wouldn't be possible if people like you didn't jump on the show. So thanks, my man. Cool. Finish off some quick fire questions.
Yeah.
Jade, what brings you true happiness?
True happiness. People smiling around me.
What is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life to me would be experience to the fullest, and bring it in and put it out in beauty and love, and make sure you leave the world a better place than you found it. Advice
you wish you knew about when you were younger?
Far out. Girls.
How to talk to them? Or?
How to stay away from the crazy ones, bro.
Is that actually it?
Yeah. No, actually, bro. Advice I wish I got as a younging would be, it's double-edged, bro. How to be a man, but I figured it out. Kind of the do's and don'ts, what to say and what not to say, how to shake a hand, things like that. I had to figure that out myself. So, yeah.
What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy to me would be, I think it's not about what you have, material wise, cars, boats, houses. I think when people remember you and for who you truly were, I feel like that's the legacy that I care about. If people know that I was a giddy, laughing goofball, I think that's the most beautiful thing about bringing up Connor, is that even though he was taken way, 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 way too soon, and we miss him every day, he was awesome, man, and he definitely left a legacy behind. So yeah, just people remembering me for who I am, you know, and truly who I am, and that I tried. So
I love that, bro. That's real nice. Yeah. If you could change one thing in New Zealand, what would this be?
mental health, bro. How we think about it. It is cool to talk, and a guy, again, you know, Con cried on my shoulder many times, and I consider him to be probably the strongest man I've ever met in my life. Such a mana man, you know. I love him so much, and that would that would be the thing I change in New Zealand, bro, is that you can speak and it's strong, and be yourself. Be yourself, bro. And a message to the young kids: finding your beautiful center within the bad and the good, and realizing that it coexists. You need the bad to have the good. Yeah. So that's what I would change, is just the whole view around just how we live, bro. Mental health. It's like, it's all beautiful. Don't be a dick. Help each other around you, because we're all going through something, you know. I'm no better than you, you know. So like, spread love. Yeah.
Nice, bro. Great response.
I'm trying to be quick. Sorry.
No, I always say quick fire questions. They're like the most intensive questions you can ask a person. What do you believe is the main thing that is holding back young people in New Zealand?
Oh, there we go. I think the misconception that life is hard, and it's funny because life is hard, but I feel like what a lot of young people don't realize is that those people walking around with suits on and the boats and all that, they don't know what they're doing either. None of us know what we're doing.
No one knows, bro. No one knows.
Exactly, bro. It's
No
like,
one knows.
yeah, we're on the same pool, brother.
Yeah.
So I think what I would say is, we love you. Everyone loves you. You are loved, and please just be yourself. I prided myself in being myself. And just be unique and make something, man. Make some art. Just change the world, because we need love. We need love here, bro. So yeah.
Beautiful, bro. And we've got some nice sunnies from Moana Road to give you as well.
I was waiting for these.
Shout out to our sponsor, our one and only sponsor.
Oh, you gotta
Moana Road.
Put the hand behind it.
Bam.
Bam.
And we'll finish off this quote. But yeah, again, just want to say a massive thank you, bro. This has been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast and have a korero about life, the challenges, the love, the opportunities. And yeah, it's been a really good time sharing this with you, man.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much.
This is a quote. Don't know who it's from. It's quite short and simple, but I thought it was quite fitting.
Yep.
You are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously. Shout out, brother Jade.
Kia ora.